Jeff Peterson from Heartland Farm Partners is our market analyst this week. Neither corn nor soybean prices have fared too well this month. The March 2018 corn futures contract has churned lower, creating a new bottom with Monday's close of $3.47 a bushel. January 2018 soybeans, after seeing a bump to start December, proceeded to then lose more than 50 cents in just over 2 weeks. We talked with Jeff Wednesday afternoon and started by asking him to describe the recent market movements.
You know, Jeff, it's been a hard one. All we've seen really since the first part of December is down markets in both corn and soybeans. And that's been kind of rough to see, especially where prices are at right now. But I guess if we'd sit back and say, well, why is that? If I was to sum that up for you, we have to look to South American weather. It's hard to talk about weather markets this time of year, but we're in a full-blown weather market right now with what's happening in South America.
So it's still early in South America. Why is South America having that much influence?
Yeah, I think it's, first of all, we've got a La Nina set up down there. And when we have that, everybody's concerned that that could impact Argentina, could also impact a little bit of southern Brazil. And even though we're the equivalent of about the middle of June, you know, I think a lot of people think that what happens now becomes a trend going forward. So I think that's why it gets so much attention.
You said if La Nina wasn't in play, this would be a totally different market. How so?
I think so, because what we've got is that we've had some weather fronts come through. We were dry earlier, dropped some moisture. Looks like we could, after we get past Christmas, could bring back in some warmer temperatures and also some drier conditions. And I think the thought would be is with La Nina there, we're gonna go back and forth in that type of pattern. If we didn't have it there, then we'd be more concerned that maybe we were setting in for a longer term wetter pattern that looks like that'd bring yields up. But I don't think that's the case yet.
Here in the U.S., the winter wheat crop across a large growing region isn't under snow cover. I think a lot of areas haven't received meaningful precipitation. What's the impact to the market?
I think there's a couple things with that. One thing is, though, the market's got very reluctant to buy into weather problems on wheat. It's kind of like it's a crop of 9 lives, and they want to wait and see. As we take a closer look at what's going on in Kansas, and in particular in relation to the precip, some of those areas that are producing wheat's only got about 15% normal rainfall over the last 60 days. It's got that crop a lot drier than we'd like. It's not going into dormancy in as good a shape. And you're exactly right, Jeff. What it opens it up to is maybe a little higher abandonment as we get to the spring, but that's a long ways away.
Update me on the fund positions that we're noticing right now.
Yeah, the fund position, that's a tough one. Right now they continue to, on the corn side, sell off. They're setting about 197,000 short. That was as of last Friday's report that came out. And that's not a new record, but it is a record for this time of year. They're about 157,000 contracts short over on the wheat side. They are at a small long on the soybean side, not as long as they were, say, a week ago, but they're sitting around about 22,000 contracts long right now in soybeans.
A lot of that corn crop in Brazil will come in the safrinha crop. What is the outlook for that right now?
You know, the conditions that are really helping soybeans right now, actually what it did is it pushed back the soybean planting because of the amount of moisture, and that's actually got few people concerned about the safrinha corn crop. The big thing we have to watch, Jeff, is that crop really needs to be planted by about March 15th, so we got a little time yet. But there are some people talking that 30 to 40% of that crop may get planted a little bit later than they'd like. And Ag Rural out of Brazil is also saying that maybe as much as 12.5% of that crop may not get planted. So overall, I'd say the production numbers coming on the safrinha crop are coming down.
Okay, tell me where you think prices go and what things are impacting or what things will impact it.
Yeah, I think we are building a strong base, and I know over time here it's been hard to see this market eroding, but we are building some demand longer term. And I think both on corn, soybeans, and wheat, we are getting to a point here where we should find some higher prices. So as we start breaking this down, we look at corn first on the old crop. I think between now and March, we'll have a chance to see the futures price for March get back up into the 370 area. I think if you can hold a little longer and get out into July, we could see 380 futures. And as we start thinking about new crop, the December 2018 crop on corn, I think it's possible to see over the $4 area. The 405 is definitely in play. Now, as we take a look at soybeans, you know, on the bean side, it's all in the really driver's seat of what happens in Argentina. We do expect some dryness there, and I think as a result, we'll get a chance to sell some of these old crop beans back up in that 985 area on the futures. And as we look out to the new crop on the November 2018, I think the 1015, 1020 area definitely still is in play.
The acre discussion will soon come into play, and Frayne Olson will talk about that more on next week's episode. But you think when we talk about acres for 2018, it's critical we talk about prevented planting acres. Why?
Yeah, we do, because one of the things that can happen very quickly is we can see some acre changes. And last year, believe it or not, we only ended up having about 2 million acres of prevent plant. Normally, about every year, if we have a normal type spring, we're somewhere around about 4 million acres. So if we come in as we get in here and have a little bit wetter conditions, I know that doesn't seem like that right now, there's always a chance that those prevent plant acres could take away from some of the corn or soybean acres.
Is there something that's profitable for next year as you look at the numbers?
It's hard. It depends on who you look at. One of the things I think we'll see a lot of discussion about for many guys is that soybeans are looking pretty good for some of these guys. And some of it gets back to just the fact they probably don't have to invest as many dollars in them.